What's up, everybody? It's Evan Hale. Welcome back to the Super Hornet podcast. Got a very special guest today. It's Walker Mehl of Locked On Hornets and Wes and Walker. WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. on 92.7.
Nailed it. Just nailed it. Yeah.
But he's one of the best voices in the Hornets community. One of my favorite people to listen to. I don't live in Charlotte, and I listen to WFNZ. So that says something. So
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Give him a listen wherever I just said. I'll have his links in the below. But welcome, Walker.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me. Thank you. You nailed the introduction, and it was funny before we started recording. You said that you've heard it every day. It's funny because it's got this rhyming scheme to it. So I've had people come up to me and say, I love doing game time, shouting out game time, and also I so badly want you to continue on your rhyming scheme in the introduction. So I guess it's working because it's still in people's brains somewhere in there. So you nailed it.
Yeah, my dream one day is to end up on the LOH side of this and just nail game time with you guys.
It gives us great joy that people are out there shouting game time, because I know at least one person is in unison with us. Me and Doug have not nailed a game time in quite some time.
It's been honestly. A while, guys.
It's been a long time. We got to work on it.
I feel like you didn't do game time for a while, and that's why.
Well, that's true. It's a good point, because I think I'll try to wait a little bit for game time. I mix it up because I'm trying to play off of Doug, but then Doug's trying to play off of me. And so it's a whole mess. We got to figure our game time out. But once we do, we're unstoppable.
Yeah, no, I was driving to a Hornets game. It's probably like December, like middle of December, with a buddy who didn't listen to you guys or know you guys. He's not even a Hornets fan, and I just go game time, and he's like, "What the heck was that?" I'm like,
"Time, baby."
I'm like, "You gotta know. You
gotta know. You gotta be in on the joke, man."
Well, awesome. Enough about ad reads. Welcome. Let's talk about the Hornets, even though ad reads might be more entertaining than the Hornets right now. Except we got to win, but it's not really a win though.
You're right. We did the whole joke of it's kind of a win. Look,
yeah,
it's okay to beat the Jazz. In fact, there's not many other options. I know they tried to lose. I know that Utah missed a couple of bunnies at the end. They missed the game-tying 3. The Hornets tried to lose this one, but it's going to be really hard to lose against Utah. It's really all about New Orleans. Yeah. As long as New Orleans as long as we don't have a better record than New Orleans the rest of the way, then I think we're pretty safe. But it's okay. We can celebrate a win, man. It's okay to celebrate a win against the Jazz.
It's funny. I was sitting in this chair right here, and my TV is right off screen, and like I got a couch and a nice seat behind me, and my fiance sitting back there, and I'm cheering for the Jazz. And she's like, "Why are you cheering for the Jazz?"
So you've gone full blown tankanista. Unapologetically lose every game.
So yeah. Here's how I want. At this point, I want the Hornets to lose every. I'm going to a game. I want the Hornets to lose every game, but I want it to be close and exciting. Okay. I'm like Keontae George, like in KJ got into it, and I was like, I'm like, Keontae, calm down. Like, you need to win this game. Like, what are you doing, bud?
So how does that work with you? Clearly, I know you're not super Hornets anymore, but you're still a super fan. We can call you a super fan of the Hornets. So even if we've altered your moniker just a little bit, you can't be pulling for the other team in Spectrum Center. So how does that work for you? Do you quietly cheer?
Well, I'm spoiler alert here for the people who don't know. They did a little Hornets Twitter poll for like number 1 fan, and I won. So I'm going to one more game this year. I'm bringing it back for one more game at least. So I will be the Super Hornet one more time at Spectrum Center on Friday against the Kings. The Kings are also the second to last team I got to see play in person, so I'm excited about that. Okay. But I've never rooted against the Hornets before. Like I don't want them to not like to lose usually, but I'm watching. I'm like, come on, Jazz, like you're open. Don't airball 3. Like,
I'd be interested to see how many people have gone. So on the WFNZ text line, the world famous WFNZ text line, when we talk about the Hornets, it feels like people will write in that they're just ready to lose because everybody wants Cooper. I get it. I think for me, I'm kind of picking my spots. Like I don't want this thing to get too crazy, and I don't think we're there. I think the Hornets are going to do plenty of losing the rest of the way. So I kind of pick my spots on when I pull for the Hornets, and it's be a nice game to lose, but ultimately I think they're going to be fine.
It was more just the Jazz because if you lose to the Jazz, you have a chance to get that one, like the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
And the idea of our worst pick being the 5th pick is nice. I had a nightmare that we got the 7th pick the other day, and I was like,
yeah.
And like the Spurs won the lottery, and I'm like, this is awful.
So here's a tease for you because we have not released. I literally just got done recording Locked On Hornets. So when we did Doug's 1 billionth mock draft, I think where I am now is, of course, I want the number 1 pick. I want the highest pick possible. I'll be angry. I'll be frustrated if they don't get it, but I don't want to fall anywhere below 4. Right?
4 is where I want to be.
If you fall below 4, you don't get the right to say no to some of these top guys. Cooper going number 1, Dylan probably going number 2. So I want the right to say no to Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe. Like if you don't, if you want to say no, fine, but I want that right. And if you fall below that, I don't think you're going to have that right.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think if we're anywhere behind 2, we just like I think we take VJ for 3 or 4 personally. Just I think he just feels like one of those Charles Lee kind of guys. You know?
Makes sense.
I got to see him and Cooper play in person and Raleigh at the regional
very cool. Yeah. So
awesome. Dude, my love for Cooper just like shot up. My fiance, I don't know if I'm putting her on blast here. She's a North Carolina fan. She gets happy when she sees the Cooper Flag commercial on TV now with stuff like with him, like, you know, like playing bingo. She's like, I like that Cooper guy. She hated Zion. She hated everybody.
Wow.
Okay. She likes Cooper though.
Well, see, I love Zion. That's when things started to turn as far as the hatred for Duke goes. Yeah. Because it used to be you hated all the stars for Duke, but once we hit this one and done era, Zion was incredible. It was hard.
He was awesome to watch.
Yeah. Oh my God, he was insane. So Cooper, he's got people feeling like that too. He's so fun, and Duke is so incredible.
Yeah.
And especially with his chances of being a Hornet, like there's a shot. Yeah. Maybe you just get rid of your hate now. If you are a North Carolina fan and you're a Hornets fan at the same time, just start trying to cope with your hate and get rid of it, because he might be a Hornet and we're going to have to cheer for him.
Yeah, no, she went with me to the game and she was in the arena. Like, I kind of like this Duke team. I'm like, oh, well, speaking of Zion and Cooper, let's just pivot from there. I mean, that's 2 guys that could change our offseason. I mean, it looks like I've seen reports as I mean, I don't remember who it was from NBA Central. It might have been Chris Haynes. They're usually the Central guys post, saying that Zion could be shopped this summer. And I saw another report saying that the Hornets could be one of those teams that will go after him. How do you feel about? I mean, obviously Zion in college was amazing, but he's a little different now. I mean, he's still the number 1 double team player in the league. That's for good reason, but it's just the thing every other Hornets player has an issue with, and that's availability. So what, how do you feel about that? I mean, you've talked about it on LOH, but
so it's the hardest question. It's a great question because it's the hardest one that I go back and forth on, because Zion is incredible. When he plays, even with him having been out of shape before, when he plays, he's still a phenomenal basketball player. Like, the guy's uber efficient. We know about his deal. Once he gets into the paint, he's a locomotive and you can't really stop him. He's still a good rebounder. I know defense is something that you worry about. All of that said, right? I don't know if I want to trade LaMelo for Zion. If you're going to trade for Zion, I would like to have both of those guys on the court at the same time. But having invested in 2 injured stars doesn't necessarily seem like a great idea.
Yeah.
So, okay, part of trading for a star is to have insurance, right? Like, when you have these big 3, if one of them goes down, you can still win in the playoffs with your other 2. Well, what happens when you only have 2 stars? One of them goes down. Now it's not a playoff contending team, especially as the team, what it is right now, currently constructed. And if they both go down, then you have a whole bunch of money tied up and you gave up assets to go get Zion.
Then you're the Sixers.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's tough. I just ultimately, as much as I love Zion, like I visit his college sports reference page probably once every 2 weeks just to be in awe over his game log. It's crazy. I'm actually going to talk about it today on Wes and Walker, how crazy it is compared to Cooper Flag. As much as I love the idea of Zion, as much as he resurrected some of his value with the way that he was playing before the Pelicans shut him down, the reality is they shut him down again. And if you trade, whether it's trading LaMelo for Zion, you still have a lot of the same problems that you had with LaMelo in terms of his body just breaking down on him. If you trade other stuff for Zion and then pair him with LaMelo, well, then now you have 2 guys with the same issue, and they could both go down at the drop of a hat anytime. anytime they
Same
can both
game.
be injured.
I mean, it could happen.
I don't blame anybody for saying, hey, this is our move. Let's go get him. It makes too much sense for me to stay away. That's ultimately where I end up. It's just too much risk. And I've seen too much bad Hornets basketball. I've seen too much injury-laden basketball to take a chance on another injury-laden guy.
Yeah, I think that move that's the move the front office makes if they're like, we need to put butts in seats. We need to make these North Carolina people happy. Who is Mr. North Carolina there for a little while?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take the risk. That's like, and I wouldn't if we did get him, I would not want to trade LaMelo for him. I am somebody like, you trade Miles and a plethora of our picks, and then probably like whatever salary floor you got to do with that. I mean, it'd probably be Miles and like NSJ if I had to bet.
It doesn't seem like the move, right?
It doesn't.
Like this doesn't seem like the time for the Hornets to, okay, now we're going after Zion. I understand you want to switch it up a little bit, but it doesn't seem like, I don't know about the timing or the player. I don't know if either one of those things means that this is the right move to make. So ultimately, I end up saying no, but I think about it really hard. I have a big time meeting about it.
I think about it a lot. I think that's one of those things you're like, we need to sell. Like a lot of season ticket holders are not renewing their tickets from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, the front office is like, we need to sell season tickets. What are we gonna do? Zion, let's just go get him. But I know I say all of this. Oh, Damian Baugh there we go. He's back with the Hornets.
Look at Baugh. Look at Damian Baugh, man. Hard not to like that guy.
He's awesome to watch him play in person, man. I say all this, but if I got the notification in like 2 months that we traded for Zion, I'd be so excited. I would be like, "Oh my god, we got Zion!" That's the life of a Hornets fan, right? And that's
sure.
We're making moves. Let's talk about Damian Baugh while we're here, because there's another offseason question in our bench guard play in Tre Mann and what we think is going to happen with him. He has been out since I think like December 5th. December 7th with the back injury. He dunked on a Nets player so hard that he hasn't played since, and that's right. It's just been really sad. I think about that play a lot too. I'm thinking a lot because I remember Tijon just pumping his fist down the court. I'm like, he didn't make the play, but
yeah, man, he hasn't played since November 21st.
21st.
It's crazy. November 21st in the OT win over Detroit. That was a Brandon Miller game because he
30. I was there. It was crazy. He had 38 points.
2 of 10 from the field in that game, and hadn't played a game since. That was it. His last one was November 21st.
We beat Detroit both games at home. I was at both Detroit games, and they were both freaking awesome because the other one was the Brandon Miller putback game winner. I was courtside that game on the side of the basket. That it was crazy. Oh man, that game was. I think about that game a lot too.
You got to see 2 of the Hornets' 19 wins so far. Good for you.
I've seen I think I've been to like 6 of them this year. So I mean that's something.
That's something. Hey, at 6, that's a decent amount of.
They won a lot early.
Right.
They beat the Bucks too. I was at that game. They beat the Bucks. Giannis missed a game winner. A lot of really good games early. We won a lot of close games early on, and then everybody got hurt. Now we're
right.
But Tre Mann, he been out for ever. What do you feel on him? I mean, he was so much fun to watch. I mean, he had we joked about like great value Allen Iverson. He was so shifty, so fun to watch. I mean, he attacked the basket better than almost anybody else on the team did, which was crazy at his size. He shot the ball well. He scored well. I mean, there was real 6th man of the year conversations before he went down, because the Hornets actually they were like, I want to say they were 7 and 9 before him and Grant went down.
Right.
I mean, if we were going to be that, you keep that record now, you're like the 8th seed in the East. I mean, he had a great start of the year, and here we are now. I mean, do you think another team's going to go after him, or do you think the Hornets are just going to bring him back on the qualifying offer? Do you think they might try to get him on the cheap? It just depends on the injury, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a couple of different possibilities for Tre. It's all about what the team's evaluation is of his injury, because, again, it's wild that he has not played since November 21st. You're talking about like a handful of games. How many did he get? He got 4 in October, and you're talking about roughly not even 10. I mean, you're getting into like 13 game territory for Tre Mann. So what's the injury look like for Tre? I think he's a valuable basketball player. What sucks is that I really liked his defense too. I thought he was really active. I talk about Tre Mann and his defense all the time with the anticipation. Some of these, he'll just be in passing lanes, and where instead of getting deflections, he'll just be there to intercept the basketball and then immediately turn defense into offense and start some transition. And you're right about getting downhill and attacking. Even if he's not the strongest guy, we don't have a lot of attacking guards on our team. It's Miles Bridges, who you feel good enough about in the paint. And in terms of the guards that you have, not many other guys. I would love to have Tre Mann back. I think even as a secondary ball handler, I don't know about primary, even though he's got some of that. Like it's the secondary ball handler with LaMelo, especially if you're bringing LaMelo. I'd like to keep him, but it's all about the evaluation on this injury, man. I mean, it's a little Gordon Hayward-esque in terms of you thought he would be back sooner, and then eventually it just all the opportunities they washed up. Or they dried up, I should say.
Yeah.
And then he hadn't come back. So when Gordon would get injured, there'd be this expected timeline of 6 weeks, 8 weeks. He's going to come back in April. He's going to come back in March. And then he would never come back around his initial return. I think Tre was even in this weird world of like reevaluated in 2 weeks. Wasn't Tre Mann a reevaluated 2 weeks guy? Like Mark Williams was, right?
And Nick Richards was too. There was a time where they were all hurt when Musa like took his little leap. I'm like, okay, in 2 weeks we're getting everybody back and we're gonna be good again. Just give me a minute.
It felt like the kiss of death to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. Eventually, Tre Mann is the best example of that. So that's concerning. I think had Tre played all season long, then yeah, it's a dicey decision because now you got to pay a lot more money, but at least you know what you would be getting. Here, the trade-off is you don't have to pay nearly as much money. The qualifying offer is something that they could explore, but I think you could keep Tre for the cheap. I would take that bet, especially if Tre is, not going to get this monster offer. They extend the qualifying offer. Tre doesn't get anything big in restricted free agency, and Tre signs something small with the team. I think that's entirely on the table. And if that's the case, then yeah, man, rock with Tre. He's a good player when out there. So that's the way I think I would explore this.
Yeah, no, definitely. Defense was like we talked about. He had a different energy to him. He felt like somebody that like Charles really liked on that side of the ball. It's different. I mean, you go to games. I've been to a bunch of games this year. When you're up close and you can see these guys play in person, he was one of the most communicative guys. His eyes. I mean, you watch him. You could see his eyes like watch the passers, even from like the side of his eye, you could just see him. He was always ready. He was always anticipating things, and he was always on top of it. I mean, the amount of fast breaks he created by himself just on intercepting passes and like in the backcourt and just having a straight shot to the basket. I mean, he kept us in a lot of games early on too. It was early in the year. It was, those finishing lineups was like LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Tre Mann, Grant Williams, and then whatever center we were running. I think it's probably Musa at that time. But I mean, everybody was, they would shoot well. They would, the defense was always had a good intensity. I mean, it makes me excited for the future of this team because I think if all these guys come back and they can play about where they were, I mean, Grant looks really good from his injury. I mean, he's walking without support. I mean, you see him on the sideline. I mean, you give him a summer. Athleticism really wasn't his selling point. So I'm hoping that he can still just be a tank,
Just shoot, baby. Yeah, just
shoot and post up and be awesome.
100%. And I think that actually matches up well. I'm looking at some of the cleaning the glass stats on Tre Mann, and his steal percentage in the 28 games that he played last year, he was in the 91st percentile. Like that matches the eye test, where it was such a small sample. You're talking about 13 games this season, 28 the year prior. But when I'm talking about some of his steals, just getting in passing lanes and intercepting the pass, it was a lot of what he did in those 28 games that he played last year. If you're talking about just like a little over 40, a little over half a season, who are the players that have only played that amount of games that Hornets fans love more than any? Tre Mann immediately shoots up the top of the list because we were all excited. He had the aesthetic. He was Trey-eye. It was all of that, which was so much fun. I think it would be unfortunate. It would just downright suck if our lasting image was of Trey on the bench with the headbands and the baggy T-shirt and looking like he was ripped straight out of the early 2000s AI style. I want to see that, except I also want to see him in the Hornets uniform, and we don't see him in a Hornets uniform enough. I think that's the way to play this. Extend the qualifying offer, see what kind of money he'd get elsewhere, and maybe he doesn't, and then you keep Trey around because he's a good player. And the injury history for him, played 60 games his rookie season, 65 his second year in the league, and then bounced around a little bit or got injured, I believe, last year, and then he's injured again. I don't know. We'll see, man. But I want Trey back, and I'm hoping he can be as healthy as possible.
I mean, yeah, he talked about last season. He was electric last season. I mean, in hindsight, it's embarrassing, but I bought a Trey Man jersey. That's not embarrassing. I bought a Trey Man jersey last year.
Not embarrassing at all.
What is embarrassing is I was between him and Micic and whose jersey I was going to buy, because Micic.
Oh, good for you, man.
He had a great start last year too. I mean, I was at that. I went to the first 2 games after the deadline, and he was like little Luka the first 2 games. He was throwing behind the back passes, driving to the basket. I mean, they won they went what, 3 or 4 after the deadline last year. I was like, this team is exciting.
All right, man. So I love jersey talk. Here's my philosophy on jersey. Feel free to adopt this. In fact, I think everybody should adopt my philosophy on jerseys. When it comes to buying jerseys, you can buy the star, which is totally fine. But if you want to be a little random, see, I always was trying to be Mr. Hipster, which is probably no shock. But I was trying to get the jersey that not a lot of other people had. So what you need to do, yeah, I mean, right, Moose is fantastic, but I think that's a good purchase. I think Trey Man is a good purchase, because what you want to do is you want to buy jerseys that even if they leave the team tomorrow, people will look on them fondly because of something that they've done. So Musa could leave tomorrow. They would see you wearing his jersey a year removed from his tenure with the team and be reminded of fun things. Oh, Musa, awesome, man. Oh, Trey Man, that was a fun 40 games he played. Who cares if it was only 40 games? People are going to remember that fondly. Micic probably didn't do enough. He had that 2-week stretch in April that I always go back to, but didn't do enough. So I'm glad you made the right purchase. You did for Panthers fans, right? I know people that bought XL jerseys. XL might not work out for the Panthers. Xavier Leggett, for those that don't know. Xavier Leggett might not work out, but people are going to love the personality. They're going to love the accent. And so his jersey will still play 3 years from now, even if he's just an outright bust. So that's my philosophy on jerseys.
I have a bad jersey. I'm just going to grab this because it's right here.
Oh my God, he's already leaving me alone. And there's the cat. There's Evan going to the bad jersey. I do want to see it though. Okay, so Michael Carter Williams. Oh my God. See, that's okay. Look, it's okay. You can make bad jersey purchases. That's totally fine, and you can laugh about them. But if it costs real money, then
I got that one. I got that one on sale, so it's okay. I got that.
Oh, good.
For real. That was more of a joke because I bought that in the arena this year.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah. Oh, you bought it this year. That's fine.
Dude,
you knew what you were doing.
It was
you knew what you were doing. Yeah.
I went to Michael Carter Williams' last game of his rookie year when he won the Rookie of the Year in Miami. It was freaking sick.
Steve Clifford loves that jersey. Steve Clifford is in love with that jersey. He probably has 3 at home.
He's got 3 at home, and he's got like a Devin Booker Hornets jersey and a Donovan Mitchell Hornets jersey just in a case somewhere. He just looks at fondly like.
Yeah, he does. I think those are signed. Those have personal messages. Those are protected with museum grade glass. Those jerseys are locked, stowed away. You can't steal them or an alarm goes off.
Yeah. Walker, you were great at transitioning to my thoughts because I'm gonna tell a story about Steve Clifford for the next guy I want to talk about with you. I went to the Hornets preseason game against the Heat this year, or no, against the Knicks this year. Excuse me. And as I'm leaving, I met the new announcer, Sean Parker. Great guy. If you haven't met him, he's a great guy.
Yeah, awesome dude. Love Sean.
Awesome dude. Hey, you met him.
Met him a couple times, but yeah, I don't want to act like me and him hang out. But no, he's a great guy. Talked to him a couple times. He gave me his phone
number the third time I met him. Like I met his wife. He's a wonderful dude. I was
always smiling, great guy.
I always had a relationship with Big Pat, and when I talked to him after the game, he was like, "Yeah, I knew Pat," and he was, we got close very quickly, and he's a guy. He's coming on the show this offseason. I'm excited about that.
Very cool.
But I talked to him after the game. It was my first time meeting him. We chatted up for a little bit. And so I'm like leaving the arena kind of late. I'm walking out of section 105, and that's where like the practice gym is right there when you walk out, and then there's like the fancy exit and entrance over there. That's what I call it, the fancy. So as I'm walking, there's a bald man in front of me. I'm like, that's Steve Clifford. You just see the back of his head. I'm like, that's Steve Clifford. So I like take a couple quick steps, and you gotta remember, I'm in a cowboy hat and a cape, so I'm looking crazy. And I'm like, hi, Steve. I said Steve, and he turned around. I'm like, oh, hi, Steve. Like, it's nice to meet you. I'm like, big fan.
Right.
I had,
As you can see, yeah.
I don't get to interact with people like that very often. So it was like, kind of like, I wasn't starstruck because I've learned people are people because I have met people around. But I just talked to him. We walked, a quarter of the arena walking the same way, and just talked to him for a minute. I talked about happy that he was still with the front office. Talked about, I hinted at him wanting Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell, and how I'm happy that he's one of our guys looking at the talent. And then I asked him about Tijan Salant. This is after game one. He had a couple threes. He had a really good summer league. Hornets lost that game because Jared Rhoden missed 2 free throws. We were down 1, got fouled. No, we were down 2, got fouled on a 3, and he made 1 free throw.
Okay, yeah.
So it was an embarrassing loss, but Tijan was electric. And I asked him about Tijan. I'm like, what is how do you feel about him? Obviously you brought him in, you're part of that decision. And he was like, Tijan's going to be one of those guys. You just got to give him time. That's verbatim what he told me. He's like, he's going to be special. He said those words. Those words were said. I don't know the exact order, but he said he's going to be special, and he's going to be one of those guys. And I had just been a Tijan believer ever since. And it's been hard. It's been hard to be, one of the captains of the Tijan Salant fan club this season. But I feel like I'm seeing the fruits of the labor that is being a Tijan fan. I think he's averaging like 9 points over the last 5 games, and 6 rebounds. I saw that stat on Twitter. It's not even about the stats. Did you see the quote? I mean, you were probably in the room when he was talking about his offseason. I was talking about the season and the perspective he has on the season and how he, you were probably in the room when that happened.
I actually just left, but yeah, I know what the comments that you're talking about.
I don't remember the exact quote, but the perspective that he had on his season and on what he's improved on and what he needs to improve on, that gives me so much more faith going into the offseason than any 3-point, 3-point game he's going to have his rookie year. Just the ability that he has to see what he needs to improve on, and that he's saying he's working on it. And we hire a lot of these coaches this offseason because of their player development, especially like Josh Longstaff and Lamar Skeeter. Those are guys who were kind of hailed as, player development coaches. It's got me really excited for his future. I don't know where he lands on the skill level, where he lands, is he going to be an all-star? Probably not, but is he going to be a really solid role player? I really think so. I think he's going to be one of those guys who, is one of those guys for a team.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to get some of these stats, he played the last 5 games after missing quite a few in the middle or right at the beginning and middle March. He's played the last 5 games, appeared in that game against Miami. He's averaging, it looks like he scored 43 points. It's not giving me the average here, but he's shooting 50% from the field, 33% from 3. He's gone 5 of 15 from distance. So those are the stats that he's given you in the last 5 games that he played. I think
points.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Tijan, I think you are seeing him get better and better. And I think what we talked about so often earlier in the season was the game needing to slow down for him. I think it's funny that he keeps going back to that because it was such a message at the beginning of the year. Charles Lee, every time he talked about Tijan, is that he's doing a lot. He's probably doing a little too much, which is great. You want to tell somebody to settle down a little bit rather than have to tell them to ramp up. There is no preaching to Tijan that you got to ramp him up. This guy hits 1-3 and he's giving you a Tiger Woods fist pump. So you know that you don't need to ramp him up at all. It's all internal. That's fantastic. But I think it was such a message. So then when you hear Tijan at the end of the season or close to the end of the season tell you, I'm starting to realize what to do in certain situations. I'm not going 100% all the time. I'm going 100% in terms of effort, but I can slow down during these pivotal moments that I should slow down. So I'm glad that he's realizing that, and that there seems to be this conscious effort to make sure that he's making the right read and making the right decision every time. So when we talk about how much time you need to give Tijan, I'm interested to see how patient Hornets fans are going to be. I've gone back and forth on how patient they'll be. You remember Kai Jones being drafted by this team, and at the time I said, man, this might be a 2 or 3 year project before you really start to figure out what Kai Jones can be. It ended in a horrible way. I'm glad he's having success with the Mavericks now, but it ended in a horrible way. But the thing about Kai Jones is you never saw him get all that much better. So I think we can extend the timeline. We can be patient as long as we see progress from Tijon. And I think you've already seen that. So you might be somebody that's out. I understand it's tough to watch him dribble. He still has happy feet in a lot of things that he does. Totally understand it. But he is making improvements. And so as long as he's making improvements going into next year, you know, you take one more step up, you grab one more rung on the ladder, and you continue your ascent. We can do this. It might be slow, but you give him 3-4 years, and maybe that coincides with your timeline on when you expect to be good. I hope that he just shows us consistent growth, because if you do that, that will allow Hornets fans to be more patient. If you hit these valleys, it might be a little tougher. If you go up and then you're stagnant for a 40-50 game sample, then there's going to be some criticism towards the front office and Tijon himself. But you've seen him grow already. You know he's going to put the work in. So I'm optimistic about Tijon Salon being something here with Charlotte.
Definitely. People who say they don't see the growth aren't watching the game. So there's no way you don't see growth watching.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say it like this. The start of the season, if he were to go and like rotate on defense, he would go 1,000 miles an hour. And then it felt like he was wearing blindfolds once he got there and the ball moved. He was just like, like look around, like, what do I got to do? Now, when he over pursues on defense, he will rotate past the next guy to go cover the man that's going to get covered. You see those little things, as the defense rotates to help where he over pursued. Right. He knows where to go now to make sure that person isn't open.
Oh, right.
And it's, making the right cuts on offense. He'll start to cut, and then he'll be like, that's not what I'm supposed to do right now. He would just cut in the beginning of the year. And, being a little more patient on offense, not just catching the ball and chucking it up no matter where you're standing, catching the ball, taking a pump fake, dribble and letting the guy go by you, and then taking the shot.
Finding the 3-point line. We saw that in this last game where it took a while, but he knew, I'm supposed to look for the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that I'm behind this line so I don't shoot with my foot on the line. And then he made it. Kudos to him. It took him forever, but he eventually shot it and made it in this game against Utah.
I said I don't want to when we started this episode, I talked about cheering for Utah. That's an anomaly. It was weird not cheering for the Hornets, but he hit those shots. I'm like, let's go, Tijon. Like, I was still happy about him.
I'm still pull for the guys.
Yeah. I'm like, let's go, Tijon. But no, it's just I really believe in him, and I thought Steve Clifford telling me to my face he's gonna be good made me immediately made me love the dude, and then he's just he looks like a likable character. I mean, the Hornets need to do every season. They need to do what they did with Tijon and KJ with the following the rookies around. I fell in love with those dudes watching them. Just going to the minor league team? What is it? The Knights, the Charlotte Knights, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Go to the Charlotte Knights game and throwing out the first pitch and following them and all stuff just building the characters that are the players. I mean, I'm a huge KJ Simpson fan too. I think he's the guy you got to talk about with the Trey Man concerns. I mean, he does a lot of the stuff that not as good as Trey Man right now, but he's a guy who could project to be somewhere like that,
Yeah, got to shoot. So I love KJ Simpson. I love the mentality. Clearly, just because of his size, he's going to have to be able to make threes because he's also not hitting a lot of shots at the rim. What I do love is that he is getting to the rim at a pretty decent rate. So I like that, or at least he had in some games. I haven't checked the stats because they can be a little wonky with such big swings with a small sample. But KJ does get to the rim. Even if that means he'll finish later, at least he's getting to the right spots, and he's got to hit threes. But going back to your personality thing, it's what this Hornets team, this Hornets front office has broadcasted the entire time. We're going to go after the guys that have the best personality. You see that with Tijon. You see that with KJ, who was celebrated in the second round after being drafted. He was one of the few guys in attendance during the draft where he's crying. He's telling you, I'm going to run through a brick wall.
Yeah.
And you've only seen him play with that kind of effort. But think about some of the other moves that they've made. They go after Josh Okogie, who's an absolute warrior on defense, and was fun. He made watching defense fun because it had a real visible impact. I mean, he was in dude's shorts, getting the basketball and then creating some transition opportunities off of that. You see a guy like Musa, who you bought a jersey because of his effort.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a type. It's a good type to have. You got to get skill. You got to have talent. Everybody understands it. But if you're asking this team to turn around their culture, then this is what I think the infant stages look like. It's getting a whole bunch of dudes that care and care more than you do. And that's what they've been doing with all of the acquisitions that they've had. And that part has been enjoyable. The winning has to come. The injuries have to go. But the personality, you're starting to see the imprint here with all of these dudes who just give a bleep all over the court.
You know, Josh Okogie, definitely. That's the perfect. He made watching defense fun. I mean, defense is fun at times, but just the little things. I mean, he'd be in your shorts. He'd be up in your face.
Yeah.
And he was a guy, he was respected by the refs too. I feel like the things that he would do, every other Hornets player would get called for a foul. And I'm in the arena like, how did they not call that? This is weird. Like, they're not calling fouls. And
It's his son's rep, man. Yeah, he was saying, it's me from Phoenix. Oh, my bad, Josh. I won't call
You know Kevin
foul.
Durant, right? Yeah.
Right.
You know Devin Booker, right? But don't talk about Noah Bradley Beal, I think, in this current economy of the NBA.
No, that probably doesn't do you a whole lot of favors. No doubt.
I was talking, speaking of the Suns, and we talked about the Sixers earlier, I was talking about being, fan of the Hornets online, just with people like across the NBA landscape, and I'm like, I'm honestly happier being a Hornets fan than I'm being like if I were like a Suns or a Sixers fan right now,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, now I think it's an interesting convo because Phoenix did just go to the finals not too long ago. This Hornets team has not been to the finals ever. But if you're just talking about what's happened this year, Phoenix, they're in a really rough spot. I mean, good God. No draft picks. Their trio of stars can't even take advantage of some of these teams that have gone and dropped like flies via injuries, just underwhelming expectations. Like Phoenix still can't catch them. So I think you're right. In terms of this year, it's been rough to be a Phoenix fan because you were probably talking a lot of trash at the beginning of the season too. We were not. That's not true. Hornets fans might have been talking a little trash, but I know I was not. I was still scared.
I was talking about the Suns. The Suns fans were like, we may have been a first round exit last year, but we got a whole year together now. We're going to be good.
Right. So, it's been a dumpster fire.
Yeah. It's that's why I use the Matt Ishbia stuff when people were saying they want the Hornets to make a bunch of moves. I'm like, look what happened when he took over. I'm like, they were in the finals before he took over, and now we're looking at him like, oh, I don't know. But
gotta be smart.
They're going to trade Kevin Durant this offseason and get enough assets back to be fine. So, I mean, maybe I'm being a little extra there, but I passionate about my Hornets. Even
that's okay. Hey, be passionate, man. Super fan, super Hornets got to be passionate.
Yeah, and you know who else fits that? The defensive you were talking about, and that mentality is Cooper Flagg. So, I mean, hopefully he ends up in Charlotte because, I mean, he's somebody who just wants to win and proves winning, and that's why I want him on the Hornets. Not his scoring ability, nothing. Just him on the defensive side of the ball is crazy. I mean, Zion peaks higher on offense by a mile, and his defense was amazing too. But I think what Cooper does on every level of the game is just,
yeah. He does everything. I don't know how many weaknesses he has. I mean, the shooting isn't amazing. Like once you adjust for NBA 3-point shooting range, then maybe it takes a dip, but he can shoot. Like he'll be fine. I wouldn't be surprised if he was like a 38% 3-point shooter in the league. He just dropped below that, I think, with this last game or two. Maybe handle, like we've talked about it on LOH. It's the handle that isn't amazing, but he's gotten better already. I mean, at the beginning of the season, he had a couple of costly turnovers in late possessions that eventually hurt them. Like they lost games because of his turnovers trying to handle the basketball. That's not happening anymore. You're right. It's incredible. Like he can do anything he wants. It's incredible. And Cooper is going to be the number one pick, and he would help this franchise a ton.
He's going to be the number one pick, and the Hornets are going to win the lottery. I'm putting that out there right now.
Put it out there, man.
I got wood right here too. I think that's going to be it for the show. Walker, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks, man.
You're just one of the voices of the Hornets community, and it can't give you your flowers enough. You're just one one of my favorite people, man.
Dude, you're the best. Thank you. I appreciate anybody that mentions that. Like I joked with you when you were saying some kind words to me before we started recording. Like it's we're all in this together, right? Like you see me at a Spectrum Center, you say what's up, man. I love my people. So I appreciate you, Evan. Thanks so much for having me on.
Awesome. Well, this has been the Super Hornet podcast with Walker Mehl today. Hope you guys, have a good day. Just enjoy basketball and go Hornets.